welcome back to the breakdown. Today I'm going to be going over a $1,500 Nvidia RTX gaming PC. Yeah, you heard me right. This is a RTX gaming PC for $1,500 and yeah, it's just going to be a pretty awesome build. But before we get on into it, you can check out any and all of the items that I mentioned in this video in the description, link down below on Amazon. If you go down there and purchase through any of those links, we do get a small commission at no additional cost to you. So thank you very much for using those links. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and jump on into this video. First and foremost, we have our CPU. Now, our CPU here is going to be an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X 3.7 GHz 8-core processor. This is a CPU that is going to be competent for any and all gaming you want to do, but also any streaming, also any video editing, any recording, anything you want to do. This CPU will be able to handle it. It's a monster, and yeah, just an overall solid and incredible CPU for this system. Starts us off on a good foundation, and we're going to actually use an aftermarket cooler on this thing just in case you wanted to overclock it. We're going with the Noctua NHU9S CPU cooler. This is a pretty high tower CPU cooler, and with that, it should be able to cool you for overclocking. I'll probably be able to crank 4.5, if not 4.7 gigahertz out of this processor with this CPU cooler. So great stuff there, and overall, great setup for our CPU, whether it's overclocking or if you're just running it at base speeds, it's going to be incredible. Now, what about our motherboard? Because we've got our CPU, but we need a motherboard to put it in, and our motherboard for this system is going to be an MSI X470 Gaming Plus motherboard. This is going to support 64 gigabytes of RAM, tons of expansion cards, and overall, it's just going to give you a great motherboard for even more upgradability in the future. While this is using the best and the newest tech out there, it is going to be able to be upgraded over time with this motherboard still being the base of your system, which is what I like to see. I like upgradability. I like possible expansion in the future, and this motherboard is going to allow us to do that. Now, while the motherboard supports 64 gigabytes of RAM, we're only going to be throwing 32 gigabytes of RAM into it, specifically two 16 gigabyte G.Skill Aegis DDR4 2400 megahertz RAM. Now, the reason I'm going with 32 gigabytes here is if in the future you wanted to throw in two more 16 gigabyte sticks, you could upgrade it to 64 gigabytes, but you don't necessarily need it out of the gate. Most people aren't using more than 16 gigabytes or really 20 gigabytes of RAM these days, even if you are doing hardcore video editing or streaming. So 32 gigabytes should serve you very nicely, but if in the future you start using up near that 32 gigabytes range, you can throw in two more 16 gigabyte sticks with easy upgradability and have no issues whatsoever. So great stuff there, and that's why I went with that RAM. And now we need to talk about our hard storage, or our SSD or our HDD or both, and that's what we're actually putting in this system. For our hard storage, like our games and our movies and any deep storage videos you create, stuff like that, that's going to be thrown on our 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Blue HDD. Now, we're going to be booting off of our SSD that can also actually have a few games on it and some important files and things like that, and that SSD is going to be a 480 gigabyte Team L5 Lite SSD. Now, this isn't like the top pinnacle SSDs, I understand that, but it's a budget SSD that's going to serve us very well in this system for our OS, our favorite games, and any other important files we have, right? In addition to all the other programs our PC has. So, yeah, overall, incredible SSD for what we're going to be using it for, and overall, a great price, less than 60 bucks to pick up this thing. So from there, let's move on to what you've all been waiting for, the graphics card. And as I promised on the front end and from the title, this is an RTX build, specifically an Nvidia GeForce RTX 2070 8GB graphics card. Literally, when I'm making this video, this card has been out less than a week, and it is a greatly spec'd card. It's going to give you a little bit worse performance than the 2080, but not by much, and it is cheaper, which is what I like to see. Now, one note here, the price of this system in general will go down over time as the graphics card prices go down just a bit here. Right now, where this thing just came out, these graphics cards are priced way higher over MSRP than they probably ever will be. I mean, we're talking, 100 to 150 bucks over MSRP, and over time they will come down, and when they do that, you can take advantage of it and get this system for even cheaper. But if you're building it out the gate, this system will last you for years and years and years into the future, and the bottleneck is less than 10%, meaning you're not going to have any lagging or anything like that caused by the parts you put in this thing. So overall, great CPU, great GPU, great combo for a great system. Now, we still need a case and a power supply to put this thing in. And for our case, we're going with the Cougar MX340 full ATX mid-tower case. This is going to be a great case with beautiful side windows so you can see your beautiful graphics card inside, in addition to the rest of your systems. It's got very adequate cooling out of the box, and because we're using very high-end hardware here, we need very high-end cooling, and this case can offer it to us. So overall, an incredible case. But if you don't like this case, you can check out other ones at the eye at the top of your screen up there. Those are all awesome PC cases under 50 bucks. Now, moving on to our power supply, we're going with a 1000 watt EVGA Supernova G3 power supply. This is going to be a great Gold Plus certified power supply that overall will just give us plenty of power. It's also fully modular for great cable management. Anything and everything you want out of a 1000 watt power supply, this one from EVGA will offer it to you. Now, last but not least, what is our price? Now, the price of this build comes out at $1,500.83. Yeah, I know, I'm 83 cents over, and I'm sorry about that, but overall, this is going to be an incredible system nonetheless, and we'll just rock and roll and be able to play any and all modern games out there. Whatever game you're wanting to play, you can play it with this system. So overall, this is the best $1,500 build I've ever done because it's using brand spanking new hardware. But nevertheless, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know any other build prices you would like to see me do in the description down below. I'm always looking for new ideas. My name is Nick, this has been The Breakdown, and I am out, guys. Peace.